What if your entire life is an echo of a conversation you're having with yourself? Not the words you speak aloud, the silent, secret ones. The ones that define what you feel is true in the depths of your being. You have been taught that your inner speech is a reaction to your world. But the truth is, your world is a reaction to your inner speech. There is a sacred law to this power, a method so precise, so potent, that it can initiate a complete transformation of your reality in just 3 days. Stay with me until the end. Because the person who hears these words will not be the same one who started listening. You are about to learn how to consciously author the script of your life and command your new world to appear. Listen closely. The world you perceive is not the cause, it is the effect. The one and only creative force, the true operant power in your universe is your inner conversation. What you are saying to yourself right now in the secret chambers of your mind, that is the chisel shaping the sculpture of your life. It is not a secondary power. It is the only power. You have been whispering or shouting your world into existence with every internal dialogue. Your consciousness is the fertile ground, and your inner speech is the seed. You cannot plant seeds of lack and expect to harvest a reality of abundance. It is law. So, the first and most profound realization is this: your inner world is the only world. What you hold true there, what you consent to there, must inevitably project itself onto the screen of space. It's not about changing others or manipulating circumstances. It's about changing the conversation you are having with yourself. This conversation is a sacred creative act. It is your direct line to the I am within you. And what is this I am? It is God. It is the creative power spoken of in all the great books of the world. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. That word is not some external utterance. It is your own consciousness, your own inner speech. When you say, I am poor, you are declaring a divine decree. When you say, I am loved, you are embodying a state of God. Your inner conversation is your consciousness externalizing itself. So, you must become incredibly deliberate, incredibly selective about what you allow to be spoken within. To manifest your deepest desires, you must stop speaking about them and start speaking from them. You don't beg for love. You have an inner conversation from the state of being adored. You don't plead for wealth. You have an internal dialogue from the assumption of opulence. You are not a victim of your world. You are its silent and often unknowing author. Your every thought, every feeling, every whispered word to yourself is a brushstroke on the canvas of reality. This is where the true art lies. You must speak to yourself as if your desire were already an accomplished fact. Not as a hope, not as a future possibility, but as a present reality. If you desire health, your inner conversations are not about getting well. They are conversations that a healthy person would have. You'd be thinking about your energy, your vitality, the things you'll do with this vibrant body. If you desire success, you stop the inner arguments about your struggles and begin to have the inner conversations of a successful person. Conversations of achievement, of recognition, of contribution. This is the great secret. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must feel yourself into the state you desire to occupy. The world is a mirror, and it can only reflect what you are. So what are you, in this very moment, telling yourself that you are? That is the question. The answer to that question is the blueprint of your tomorrow. But it cannot be mechanical. It must feel natural. The subconscious mind, the womb of creation, only accepts that which feels natural to it. Repeating empty words, hollow affirmations will do nothing. Why? Because you can't deceive yourself. Your feeling is the key. The conversation must be saturated with the feeling that it is true right now. You must persist in this new way of speaking to yourself until it becomes your dominant mood, your natural state of being. It's not about forcing it for 5 minutes a day and then spending the rest of your hours in your old state of lack and doubt. No, it is a full-time selection. You choose to live in the state of your fulfilled desire. This means your inner reactions to life's events must change. You must begin to react from the standpoint of your wish already being a fact. This is the shift. This is the selection of a new reality. You are not creating something out of nothing. You are simply selecting a reality that already exists in imagination. And this deliberate, conscious inner conversation is the only true creative force in the universe. It is absolute. There is no other cause. Your prayers are answered not by what you ask for, but by what you claim to be true through your inner speech. So watch yourself. Become a vigilant guardian at the gate of your mind. Do not allow a single thought, a single inner word that denies the reality of your fulfilled desire to pass. You are God in disguise, speaking your world into being. The power is not out there, it has never been. The operant power is your own wonderful human imagination, your own inner conversation. This is the foundation upon which everything is built. You already are everything you could ever desire to be. The work is simply to persuade yourself of this truth through a new and divinely controlled conversation. But that's only the surface. There is a specific time frame, a sacred interval in which this new conversation solidifies into fact. Now we approach a profound mystery. A sustained inner conversation is the cause of all phenomena, but there is a specific interval required for the seed of your new assumption to take root and germinate in the womb of consciousness. This is the law of 3 days. This isn't a superstition. It is a spiritual timeline for transformation. Think of it as the gestation period for your new reality. For 3 days, a period of 72 hours, you are called to live completely and utterly in the inner state of your wish fulfilled. You must be so absorbed in your new conversation, so saturated with the feeling of being who you want to be, that you are effectively dead to your former world. This interval is a crucible. It is the time it takes for the subconscious mind to accept your new selection as its own, to accept your assumption as fact. It is a period of absolute faith in the unseen, a sacred Sabbath where you cease from all mental effort of trying to make it happen and simply rest in the state of its being done. The number 3 echoes through all scripture as a symbol of completion and resurrection. It signifies a divine process brought to its fulfillment. On the 3rd day, the tomb is found empty. On the 3rd day, the new state is born into your world. By consciously and deliberately maintaining your desired inner conversation for 3 full days, you are activating a law that transcends your current understanding. You are participating in the creative rhythm of the universe itself. The 1st day is the death of the old man, the ceasing of the old inner conversations of lack. The 2nd day is the burial, the silent, unwavering commitment to the new state even when the world shows you no evidence. The 3rd day is the resurrection, the birth of the new man, where the new state begins to feel so natural that you cannot even conceive of the opposite. You are not just changing your mind, you are undergoing a mystical death and rebirth. This is the challenge, and this is where most fail. They cannot remain faithful to the unseen for 3 days. They visit their desire, they have a brief inner conversation from that state, but then they immediately return to their old home, the state of their problems. They look at the evidence of their senses and fall back into the old arguments within themselves. But you are being called to something higher. For 3 days, you must be relentless. You must be an actor so completely lost in your role that you forget you are acting. When you wake, you are already that person. As you walk through your day, you embody that state. Before you sleep, you are still that person. You must not waver. Any return to the old state resets the clock. It is a complete and total immersion. You are not trying to convince an external power. You are convincing yourself, your own subconscious, that this new state is now the only reality. Think of the story of Jonah. It is not a tale of a man swallowed by a fish. It is your story. It is a parable of consciousness. Jonah was in the belly of the whale for 3 days and 3 nights. What is this belly of the whale? It is a state of total sensory deprivation, a complete immersion in a single idea, a single state, cut off from the outer world. This is what you must do. You must enter the belly of your assumption. For 3 days, you turn your back on the world of Caesar, the world of so-called facts and evidence, and you live solely in the world of your imagination. You feast on the feeling of your wish fulfilled. In that darkness, in that focused state, a profound transformation occurs. You are not punished by being there. You are reborn from it. You enter the tomb of your new state willingly, knowing that on the 3rd day, you will be disgorged onto the dry land of your new physical reality. So this period of 3 days is your sacred mission. It is the law of transformation in action. It is the minimum time required to impress upon the formless substance of your subconscious mind a new form, a new you. During these 72 hours, your only responsibility is to maintain the feeling, the inner conversation, of your desire being a present, concrete fact. You must deny the evidence of your senses and live, breathe, and think from the end. You are not waiting for it to happen. You are living in the reality of it having already happened. This is how worlds are changed. This is how men become masters of their fate. It begins with a disciplined imagination and a sustained inner dialogue. But how specifically do you structure this conversation from the moment you wake to the moment you sleep? Here is what changes everything. Your day must begin before your eyes open to the world. The very first moments of consciousness as you emerge from the deep are the most fertile for creation. Before the world rushes in with its memories of problems and limitations, you must seize that sacred interval. As you lie there, suspended between the worlds of dream and waking, Your first inner words must be a declaration from the state of your wish fulfilled. If it is wealth you desire, your first thought is not "I need to make money," but rather a feeling of immense gratitude for your overflowing abundance. You might have an inner conversation where you are deciding how to invest your latest gains. If it is health, your first feeling is one of supreme vitality, of energy coursing through your body. You do not think about healing. You think from the state of being healed. This is not a chore. It is an act of selection. You are choosing your reality for the day before you have even opened your eyes. This preemptive inner conversation sets the tone. It establishes the key for the entire day's symphony. It is a declaration to your subconscious mind that this is the only reality you will consent to. Then, as you rise and move through your day, you must maintain this conviction. The world will test you. It will present you with apparent contradictions to your assumption. A bill will arrive, a negative comment will be made, a physical symptom may appear. This is the moment of truth. Do you revert to the old conversation of lack, fear, and complaint? Or do you remain faithful to your inner state? Here is where your operant power is truly exercised. When a challenge arises, your inner conversation must not be one of reacting to the problem, but one that reaffirms the solution. If faced with a bill, your inner talk is one of gratitude for the infinite supply that makes all payments easy. If faced with criticism, your inner state is one of unshakable self-love and acceptance. You do not argue with the shadow world. You do not fight the reflection in the mirror. You simply and calmly return to the inner conversation of your wish fulfilled. You must be a faithful actor, never breaking character no matter what happens on the stage. This unwavering inner dialogue is your shield and your creative tool. And just as the day begins, so it must end. The conversation you have with yourself just before you drift off to sleep is perhaps the most powerful of all. The conscious mind is quieting down, the sentinels are at ease, and the doorway to the subconscious is wide open. This is where you plant the most potent seeds. You must not take the problems of the day into the silence of your sleep. Instead, you must once again assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Construct a short, vivid scene in your imagination that implies your desire is a fact. Feel yourself into that scene until it takes on the tones of reality. Have a brief inner conversation from that state, a conversation of gratitude, of relief, of joy. Isn't it wonderful? Thank you. As you fall asleep, let this feeling, this inner conviction, be the last thing active in your consciousness. Your subconscious will then work on this impression all through the night, shaping your world from within while your body rests. The last word before sleep echoes in eternity, but this inner speech must not be mere empty words. It requires two vital elements, specificity and feeling. Vague desires produce vague results. You must know precisely what you want. Your inner conversation should reflect this clarity. If you desire a specific home, you have inner conversations as if you are already living there, deciding where to place the furniture, feeling the morning sun through a specific window. This specificity gives your imagination a clear picture to work with. And even more crucial is the feeling. You must feel the naturalness of it. The conversation must be accompanied by the emotion that would be yours if your desire were already a concrete reality. It is a feeling of quiet confidence, of gratitude, of "it is done." This feeling is the glue that makes the assumption stick. Without it, your words are powerless. Feeling is the key that unlocks the door for your inner word to become your outer world. Therefore, structure your entire life around this new conversation. It is your most important work. From the first conscious breath in the morning to the last sigh at night, you are either speaking yourself into your desire or speaking yourself out of it. There is no middle ground. Every moment is a choice. Every reaction is a creative act. You must become so saturated with the feeling of your wish fulfilled that it becomes your new self. The inner conversation becomes so natural, so specific, and so filled with gratitude that you forget it was ever any different. You are not just thinking positive. You are restructuring the very core of your being, your I amness. You are consciously selecting the reality you wish to experience. But what happens when the old ghosts of doubt and fear begin to whisper? What do you do when the external world shouts that your assumption is a lie? Now go deeper, doubt will come. It is the serpent in the garden, the voice of reason that whispers of limitations. It is the echo of your old self, trying to reclaim its throne. Do not fight it. Do not fear it. You simply revise it. The moment an inner conversation of doubt begins, you must catch it and immediately replace it with the conversation that implies your wish is fulfilled. If your mind says, "It's been a day and nothing has happened," you do not argue. You revise. You say within yourself, "Isn't it wonderful how quickly it is all unfolding in the most perfect way?" You are not denying the doubt. You are rewriting the script from which it came. This is the art of revision. It is a moment-to-moment discipline. You do not allow a single negative assumption to nest in your consciousness. You are the master of your inner world, and you decide what conversations are permitted there. This immediate revision is the sword that slays the dragon of doubt. Persist, and the doubting voice will grow silent, starved for the attention you no longer give it. The most powerful state you can inhabit, the one that dissolves all doubt, is gratitude. But this is not the gratitude of hoping for something to come. It is the profound, serene gratitude of knowing it is already done. Your inner conversation should be drenched in thanksgiving, not for what you expect, but for what you already are and already have in your imagination. Before you even see it in the world, you say, "Thank you." This thank you is a recognition of the creative power within you. It is the feeling of a prayer already answered. When you are truly grateful for having received your desire, how can you entertain doubt? Gratitude and doubt cannot occupy the same mental space. One is a state of fulfillment, the other a state of lack. So let your dominant inner conversation be a simple, silent, "Thank you." Feel the relief and peace that come with it. This feeling, this inner speech of gratitude, is the frequency of reality itself. It is the amen, the so it is, that solidifies your assumption into fact. You must understand this. Your imagination is the one and only reality. The physical world is not solid and unchangeable. It is a shadow. It is a delayed reflection of your true state of consciousness. What you call reality is nothing more than the projection of past assumptions, past inner conversations. When you try to change the circumstances first, you are trying to change the reflection in the mirror without changing the object casting it. It is futile. You must turn away from the mirror, the world of appearances, and change yourself. The moment you are firmly established in your new inner conversation, in the assumption of your wish fulfilled, you have already changed the reality. The world has no choice but to conform to this new inner pattern. Do not be mesmerized by the shadow. It is fluid and it must change. Your loyalty must be to the unseen reality within you, not to the fleeting appearances without. Therefore, do not be discouraged by what you see with your physical eyes. There is always a time lag, an interval between the inner shift and the outer manifestation. During this period, you will be shown every reason to abandon your new state. The old world will scream its facts at you. This is the final test. Can you persist in your new assumption when everything around you denies it? This is the meaning of faith. Faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. The appearances of today are the fruit of your former inner conversations. They are dead. They are ghosts. They have no power to create, unless you give it to them by returning to that old state of consciousness. Walk through the valley of the shadow of your old self, but fear no evil, for you are now a new being. You are living in a new inner world, and the shadows of the old must eventually fade in the light of your new persistent assumption. This unwavering loyalty to your inner vision, this steadfast refusal to be moved by external evidence, is the very essence of the law. It is a spiritual discipline, a mental diet where you refuse to feed on negativity or doubt. You are pruning the vine of your mind, allowing only the fruits of your fulfilled desire to grow. Every time you revise a doubt or ignore a contradiction, you are strengthening your new state. You are impressing your subconscious mind more deeply with the reality of your assumption. This focused attention, this disciplined imagination, is what collapses time and initiates the final, inevitable process of transformation. It triggers a law, a precise spiritual countdown, that reorganizes the world around you to match your new conviction. And this law has a rhythm, a timeline. Here's what changes everything: the next 72 hours of your life. Let us now speak of the law itself, the sacred mechanism of transformation that unfolds over 72 hours. The first 24 hours are the most crucial. This is the period of implantation. Your new assumption, your new inner conversation, is like a seed being planted in the dark, fertile soil of your subconscious. In these first hours, you must be the most vigilant guardian. Your primary task is to saturate your mind so completely with the feeling of the wish fulfilled that there is no room for anything else. You are establishing a new dominant vibration within your being. Every time you return to the inner conversation of your fulfilled desire, you are watering this seed, helping it to take root. If you can remain faithful for these first 24 hours, you have won half the battle, for you have successfully impressed the subconscious with a new creative direction. It has received its orders. The old patterns of thought have been served a notice of their impending dissolution. The second 24 hours marks the strengthening of this new pattern and the death of the old man. As the new assumption grows stronger within you, the old state begins to wither. This can be a period of inner conflict. The habits of a lifetime of negative inner speech will fight for their survival. The world may seem to mirror this conflict, presenting you with more intense challenges. This is not a sign that it isn't working. It is a sign that it is. The old structure is becoming unstable. This is where your persistence is everything. You must die to your former self. You must turn your back completely on the person who lived in lack or loneliness. You continue to live and breathe your new inner conversation. Knowing that every moment you remain faithful, the old self is growing weaker and your new reality is drawing nearer. You are in the tomb now, sealed away with your new conception of self, and the world can no longer touch you. The final 24 hours is the period of complete transformation, the resurrection. As you approach the 72-hour mark, something magical happens. The effort ceases. The new assumption no longer feels like something you are trying to maintain. It simply feels natural. It becomes your new nature. You are no longer acting. You simply are the person you desired to be. In this final stage, do not be surprised if a moment of crisis appears. Just before the dawn, the night can seem its darkest. The world may present one final dramatic challenge that seems to shatter your hopes. This is the last gasp of the old reality. It is the storm that precedes the absolute calm. It is the shedding of the final piece of the old skin. Stand firm in your inner conversation. Know that this is the final illusion before your new world is born. This is the moment before the stone is rolled away from the tomb. Once your consciousness has been fully transformed, the reorganization begins. Your external world, which is but a mirror to your inner state, has no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect your new conviction, and it will do so in ways you could not have consciously conceived. A series of events, encounters, and opportunities will unfold, a bridge of incidents that seems perfectly natural and yet is perfectly miraculous. People will act differently towards you. Doors will open. The right resources will appear. This is not your concern. Your only concern was to achieve the inner transformation. The how is the domain of a power far greater than your conscious mind. You do not plan the journey. You simply arrive at the destination in your imagination, and the world conspires to build the road that takes you there. You will look back and see the incredible, intelligent pathway that was laid before you, all in response to your changed consciousness. This, then, is the law. A 72-hour cycle of impregnation, death, and resurrection. A spiritual technology for rebirth into a higher state of being. It is not a miracle that happens to a select few. It is a process available to every soul who is willing to discipline their own mind, to control their own inner conversation. This law is inexorable. It is absolute. What you successfully assume and hold in your consciousness for this sacred period must come to pass. You have been given the key to creating worlds. You have been given the power to select any state of being you desire and to make it your home. The choice and the responsibility has always been yours. Your I am is the operant power. Your inner conversation is the creative word. And this 3-day journey is the path from assumption to physical fact. The old conversation is over. You are no longer the echo of your reality. You are the voice that commands it. This is not a theory to be debated. It is a law to be lived. The world you experience tomorrow is being born from the inner speech you choose today. So, the only question that matters is, what are you telling yourself right now? Let me know in the comments. What is the one assumption you will live from for the next 3 days? Subscribe and turn on notifications because your awakening has just begun. And if this has stirred something deep within you, wait until you see what's next. Click on the next video and step into the power you have just reclaimed.